Hey loves, this is Bobby and I'm here with another vlog. And this is going to be a crazy vlog because I read 10 books this week. As you know, last week I didn't get too much reading done because I had training and I couldn't listen to an audiobook or read a physical book. Well, this week we literally had like nothing to do. We were so slow that I literally just sat in a freaking chair in the kitchen and just read physically or listened to an audiobook. So I got a lot of reading done. So yeah. Also, I have started my book log. I am very excited with this. It's actually really helping me getting my thoughts together more about these books. I've written 6 reviews fully so far, but I need someone to tell me that they're proud of me because what I have done is written myself a character list for each one of these books because, as you know, I never remember the names of characters while I'm reading or after. It's just, I'm really bad with names. This has helped so much. I'm not even joking. I have filled out all of the other sections around this because like it has like the name, the author, dates you started, finished, and then you can add like a quote and stuff like that. I've done all of that for all of the books that I've read. I just haven't written the full review for every one of the books. I've done 5 books so far. So I'm doing really good. I'm very proud. I'm very happy with how it's going. By the end of each month, I would like to be finished with all the books that I have done that month, because if I fall too far behind, like this month, I mean, this week alone has put me really far behind because of the 10 books. But I am determined to get caught up, and it also really helps to get my thoughts in order. So let's get started because I have a lot of books to talk about, and I've read some amazing books. I have a couple 5-star books, so I can talk a lot about these. So let's start this before this video, because this video is going to be long as it is, I already know, but let's get started. The first one is the first book that, it was the book that I was starting at the end of last week, which I've already talked about, and that is Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin. This is a Macbeth reimagining, retelling, taken more from the point of view of Lady Macbeth. This is a YA contemporary, and holy crap, I got it recommended as a audiobook. I had mentioned I was going to read it, and I had a couple people both on video as well as in the Discord groups for the readathons that I'm doing mention that the audiobook was really good. If you are able to do audiobooks, I 100% endorse the audiobook because it is amazing. It was so good. The narrator was perfect. The flow of this, because this does have that Shakespearean type of flow to it, and it was just amazing as an audiobook. I read Macbeth when I was a freshman in high school, so that was a very, very, very long time ago. So I didn't remember a lot of it, but while I was going through the book, I slowly, all of it started coming back to me, and now I feel like I've literally just reread Macbeth, but better, because yeah, it was phenomenal. We follow the story of a girl named Jade. Her and her best friends, Mads, Jenny, and Summer, all decide to crash this party being held by the popular kids at a Catholic school for Jade's 16th birthday. Jade is in the character of Lady Macbeth, and her 3 friends are the 3 witches. Jade is eventually, they get separated, and she meets a boy, and she gets drugged and ends up raped at this party. Yes, this does have a lot of content warning. The author has included a content warning at the beginning of the book that gives you a full rundown of everything. We also have some representation. Jade's best friend, Mads, is a trans girl, so we do have some transphobic comments that are made. It's nothing in depth or anything like that, but just know that they are made. And then Jenny and Summer, one of them has a crush on the other, so we do get some representation and stuff in that, and it was really great. Mads was probably my favorite character. I just adored her character so much. Jade was phenomenal. And then Jade, before they go to the party, Jade had her friends bleached her hair so that she could be this whole new person for her 16, she just turned 16. And so after the events that happened at the party, she eventually decides that she's going to get revenge on all these boys that did this to her, because it was a group effort to get her drugged and alone and into this room where she was raped. And the revenge tale to this is so amazing. It is plotted out great. The way her friends have her back. She eventually transfers to the Catholic school, which is St. Andrew's, and seeing her pick off these characters one by one, that each one of them had this, play in what she did, and she gets into the inner circle because she meets a boy named Mac, who is the character of Macbeth, and seeing her slowly drive him insane, her and her friends, it is so freaking good. I really want to do a full review on this one because everything that I loved about it, it's just there's so many spoilers, and I feel like I can keep talking about this for like 20 minutes, and I don't have time because there's a lot of books here. But yes, I'm probably going to be doing a full review on this one because everything about it just tied in so well, and then the ending and just all the different themes in here are just so great, because the reason why she knows that she has to get this revenge by herself is because all of these boys at the St. Andrew's school are very well off, come from very influential families, so she knows nothing's going to happen to them if she was to report them. And her parents understand this, and her dad is the one that gets her signed up to go to this school because she tells them what happened to her. And her dad literally would have killed these boys, and she tells them, I want to take care of this is my revenge. And it's just it's so good. Like, I might film a review for this like as soon as I'm done talking, because I need to talk about this book more because it is just so freaking good. The second book that I read was It Hit Hard. Like, this was a hard-hitting book. And I'm so mad about part of it because, let's get into it. That is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a story of a girl named Monday who goes missing. She is a young Black girl. I believe she's 13. And she goes missing, and literally nobody notices and nobody cares, because what is it if another little Black girl goes missing? And the only person that does notice is her best friend, Claudia. Claudia had went away for the summer to go visit her grandma. Her and Monday were supposed to exchange letters, and she never gets a letter from Monday. So when she gets home, the first thing she wants to do is, I want to go see Monday. She's so excited to go see Monday. And her mom's all, you can't go. You'll see her at school because she's going to be starting school soon. She finds it weird that Monday wasn't there because she knew what day she was coming back. And it just the first day of school starts, Monday's not there. The second day of school, Monday's not there. A week later, Monday's not there. A month later, Monday has still not shown up. No one has seen her. Claudia keeps pushing it. Where is Monday? Where is Monday? Where is Monday? Nobody fucking cares. And it's so infuriating. Like, you feel yourself getting mad while reading it, because it's just like, nobody's listening to this girl because nobody gives a shit. And it's just, because Monday comes from a broken home. Her mom, is known around for being a drug addict, I believe. And there's so many just little things, and it grips you, and it just doesn't let you go, because this isn't going somewhere nice is what it is. And it's like, but just, there's only one person that actually cares, and it's a teacher besides Claudia. It's one of their teachers, Miss Valente. She's the only one that puts in, like, where is this girl? Eventually Claudia makes her way to Monday's house and asks her mom, like, where's Monday? Oh, she's with her dad. Oh, she's with her aunt. Oh, she's there. Claudia knows something's not right, and it's just, no one listens to this little Black girl about another little Black girl going missing, and it just, you get so angry. This was a 5-star book for 80% of this book, and it just kind of fell apart for me. I hated the plot twist. There was a huge plot twist that did not need to be in there. It added absolutely nothing to the story, and I felt like it took away from Monday's story, and that kind of pissed me off because we had such a great book, and a lot of it didn't make any sense. After you find out the plot twist, the book falls apart as a timeline because it gets really freaking confusing. While you're reading the book, it gets confusing because we have the before, the after, and 2 years after the after. Like, it gets really kind of confusing with that. I followed along pretty well. So, but when we get to the huge plot twist, the book falls apart for me. It went from a 5-star to a 3-star. I think I ended up, it was like a 3.5. I think I might have put it at a 4 on Goodreads since you can't do half. Or I might have went with 3 because it just disintegrated. A lot of the, characters and stuff went down. Every other point of this book that I didn't like, I literally can't talk about a single thing because it's all spoiler, because everything that I hated took place in the last part of the book. So none of it I can talk about or I will spoil the book for you. I do still recommend this because it does just it's an eye-opening. And then I found out that this is partially inspired by the missing girls of DC, where apparently there was a bunch of these young black girls in the DC area that went missing and literally nobody fucking cared. And that's something that has always happened. As, you know, a person of color myself, I've seen shit like that. Like, you know, Hispanic girls, Mexican girls, whatever, they go missing. They're just a runaway. Oh, who knows? They're probably like a drug addict and they, you know, they just disappeared because they wanted to. Like, the people don't, if you're not a, you know, pretty white girl or just a white person in general, people don't tend to give a shit if you go missing. And this really is an eye-opener for that. I recommend this one very highly. It was just, that plot twist didn't need to be in there. It ruined it. The other other part that I can talk about that I wasn't a huge fan of is when it comes to the writing of Claudia. She's supposed to be like 13 years old. She is written more mentally as like an 8-year-old. It's very weird. Like, you eventually get why it was written like that, but at the same time, it made connecting the character to her age very odd. The part though I really did like about the writing is when it comes to Claudia. Claudia actually has dyslexia, and Monday was the one that was really helping her kind of like cheat her way through school. But Claudia associates people with numbers. She loves to do like nails and stuff. Like, she loves to paint nails, and she associates people with colors. And I loved that whole part of it because she mentions everybody is like, you know, like an indigo blue or, you know, these colors. And it's just really fascinating to see how she ties these people into different, you know, different colors and stuff like that, and kind of like seeing exactly how she got those colors. But I really did enjoy this. Like I said, it was just the plot twist at the end, and every other part that I didn't like, I can't talk about because it's a spoiler. But yeah, I do recommend it still, even though the ending for me personally, but after I read it, I looked up a few reviews, and other people that didn't like the ending too, they still rated a little higher. I don't know. This one was just really hard for me to rate. The next book that I read, I was reading it for the, the book club that I was going to be joining. I ended up finishing it right away because it's a really simple book. I don't think I'm going to be keeping with the book club because I can't do book club reading. Like, I can't read in sections. Like, I'm going to finish this book at once or I won't finish it. Like, it's just, I don't like chopping up a book and reading it at, you know, different dates. It's just not working for me. So, that is Fable by Adrienne Young. This is another one that is very kind of hard for me to talk about. The writing, like the descriptive writing in this is absolutely beautiful. We're following this character, the story of a character named Fable. She is 16 years old. Her father has literally just like dumped her on this island that's known for thieves and everything because he doesn't think she has a place on his ship. He is a captain. He eventually gets like his whole fleet and everything of like, he's like a trader type of thing. Like, he does like the tradings of different goods and stuff like that. And, he dumps her there and tells her that if she can find her way to him, he will give her her own ship and she can be part of his whole thing. The descriptive writing, like when Young writes about like the ocean, and Fable is the hell is it called? I can't remember. I thought I wrote it down and I totally didn't. Basically she's like the one, like they die, like divers that kind of like look for like treasure under the water and stuff like that. Her writing of the water, and then when eventually Fable is on a ship, is amazing. I literally felt like I was on this ship. Like, I could feel the freaking water like pushing against my face because of her writing. It was just so good. Her downfall was the characters. Everyone read really, really flat for me. Fable eventually ends up on a ship. She finally gets her way. Shit happens on the island and she has to get off very fast, and she ends up on a ship captained by a boy named West and his crew. And the characters all are super flat. I didn't connect to any of them. Mine was just the writing was really beautiful. So this is a really hard, I went with 3 stars with this because writing was really well. It was a really easy, fast-paced read. super cliche, I will say that. If you liked the book Princess of Ash, or like other books like that, like, you know, YA super tropey type of books, I fully recommend this for that. If you want something just really a really quick fun read, I do recommend this. um Mine was just, you know, I felt like it could have been a little better. Like, there was just some, like I said, I did not like the romance at all. It was trying to be a slow burn, but by doing that, I literally felt no connection between the eventual romance in here, like, at all. The one thing I have a huge question about with this book is I don't think it's not something I would have wanted in this at all, because it didn't have a place in there. But at the same time, a lot of the motivation from Fable's father when he left her there, like, he leaves her on this deserted island full of thieves and dangerous, like, these are murderers and stuff on this island, that she left her there for her own good so that she'd be safer or some shit like that. And I don't know if, like, sexual assault is just not something that happens in this world. I'm actually really curious about that, because he left a young girl with no means of protecting herself, no money, no nothing. He literally left her on this island full of dangerous fucking people and dangerous men that, you know, because she'd be sick. Yeah, that whole part right there kind of like, I'm just assuming that, you know, it's like sexual assault or something, you know, like anything like that is just not something that happens in this world. So I mean, if it doesn't, that's great. But if it does, I don't know if maybe, you know, like, that was kind of like confusing, but it was fun. Like, it was a fun YA fantasy, quick read. Like I said, I don't know if I would read the second book. I'd be interested in it. I just wouldn't pick it up right away. Like, it'd be one of those where I'd be like, oh yeah, there's a sequel to this, let's read it. It was fun, but it wasn't anything special, except the writing. The writing, like I said, was beautiful. This next one I'm not going to get too into because I have talked about it in length before, because this was a reread, and that is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is a reread of a reread of a reread of a reread. I've read it a ton of times. I loved it. I did the audiobook this time, and oh my goodness, it was freaking hilarious. I loved both ways. I think I might like physically just a little better because I've read it so many times physically that it just connects to me like that. But I really did love the audiobook. I did the one that was narrated by Stephen Fry, but I just got recommended a audio play, so I will totally like re-listen to this like this year. I have no problem with doing that. So if I can track down the audio play, I will listen to this again. But I love it. Everyone should know what Hitchhiker's Guide is about. If you don't, you should look into this, because this is like a classic in sci-fi, and it's just fun, it's hilarious, it's fast-paced, super short, all the characters are wonderful. So yeah, there's that one. Ooh, this next one is one that I read. I did it audio because I did the first book audio, and that is a Closed in Comet Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in the Wayfarer series. It says Wayfarer series, but these books are all, from what I know, standalone. Like, you meet the characters for the following book in the previous book, but you don't actually have had to read it because they kind of go over everything. This one is about the character, the two characters that were introduced in the last book, which are Pepper, who is she's a tech expert, as well as a human clone hybrid type of thing. This is a sci-fi. If you like Star Trek, or specifically Firefly, I would really recommend this. It's really fun. I didn't care for this book as much as I did the first one, which is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That was a 4-star book. I absolutely adored it. I loved all the characters. It was fun, fast-paced. This one was a little bit of a miss for me. I went with 3 stars for this one. I absolutely love the character Pepper, which I have mentioned, and then we follow the other character, which is Lovelace. She is the AI computer that is on the Wayfarer, who eventually gets put into this android body. She changes her name to Sidra through the beginning of the book, because Lovelace is the name of the AI. Like, there's multiple Lovelaces out there. It's like basically like a Mac type of thing. So she has to change her name. She changes her name to Sidra. And then we have Blue, who's Pepper's partner, and we have half of the book from their point of view and what they're doing. And then the other half of the well, it's like alternating chapters. The other point of view is a girl named Jane 23 who is raised as a slave in this it's like a warehouse that sorts through like different like trash technology and stuff like that, that, you know, stuff that can be recycled and stuff like that. She eventually gets out of this like company or whatever it's called. I cannot, factory. There we go. I was thinking of the word factory. She eventually makes her way out. I really, really, really loved the story of Jane. It was really interesting, and to see how it was eventually going to tie into the rest of the story, because it does eventually tie in. But I really enjoyed the character of Pepper. She's very fun, upbeat, has kind of like a mysterious past. Lovelace, though, was the one that, or Sidra, Lovelace and Sidra, like I said, they're the same character. I'm going to refer to her as Sidra because that is the name she picks for herself. Sidra, I did not like her character. I didn't care for it. Like, I understand why I didn't like it, and that it did serve a huge purpose to the story, but I just didn't care for her because she doesn't want to be a human, but she also doesn't really belong as an AI solely like in a computer and a wall type of thing anymore. And she makes a lot of really selfish decisions, and the whole thing is that, you know, she should be able to make her own choices, but then she does eventually take choices away from Pepper, and I just didn't care for her character. I didn't care for her parts. The only parts I liked about her were her interactions with Pepper, as well as a tattoo artist that she eventually meets, Tack. So yeah, this was a harder one. Like, I'm still really interested in finishing the series because I want to know who the next book is about, because I'm not sure, because like I said, they're all standalones in a series that kind of interconnect, but not like you can read them however you want. I do recommend the first book first because it was wonderful. Yeah, this one though, I was just not a fan of Sidra. She irritated me. So yeah, 3 stars, but I'm still interested in the series. I really do like Becky Chambers' writing. It's really, really wonderful. Her characters are great. Like I said, mine was just personal things. Like, I just didn't connect with this character. The next one was a new release that I have been waiting for because this is my all-time favorite series. Like, I love it with all of my freaking heart. And that is Across the Green Grass Field by Seanan McGuire. This is the latest book in the Wayward Children series. And with this one is a full standalone. If people do want to read these out of order, I don't recommend it, but you could read this one solely by itself because this doesn't contain anything from the other books whatsoever. I loved it. It was 5 stars. All of these books have been 5 stars. This one though might, even though it's 5 stars, it might be my least favorite in the series. No particular reason why. It was wonderfully written. I loved all the characters. It's just one of these has to be a favorite, one of these has to be a least favorite. This one might be my least favorite. I do want to do a full reread of this series later in the year, including rereading this one. I want to do the audiobooks on all of them. I'm very interested in the audiobook for all of these. But yeah, I really did like this. We follow the story of a girl named Reagan who she doesn't quite fit in. She's very timid. She has a best friend named Laurel who is a awful, awful, awful child. That is one of the main reasons, like, reminds me on why I don't want kids, because some of them are just horrible people. And Laurel is an awful person. There is something about Reagan, though. She feels like she just doesn't fit in with the other girls. She eventually brings this up to her parents. And as you know, or if you don't know, Seanan McGuire includes a lot of inclusive characters in this. This does have another inclusive character, and it's one that I actually never came across. I don't want to spoil it. So no, though, there is more representation in here. And like I said, I'm actually interested in reading more books featuring what is Reagan, you know, what makes her stand out a little more. I am very curious about that because, like I said, it's just not something I've ever came across. Never really thought to, you know, look into it. So it was really interesting. I really did love the character of Reagan. When she makes her way to her world, you can watch one of my other videos where I've talked about this to kind of get like more of the feel of the series, but I just don't want to stretch this on too long. When she finds her world, it is full of centaurs, fawns, and just like different kind of mythical creatures. This is the type of world she's, found home. And she eventually meets and joins this herd of centaurs, and they're all women. and she builds friendships. And I really loved Reagan coming into herself as a person, because she went from being this super timid, did whatever Laurel told her to, because Laurel was the, queen of the playground type of thing. And if she decided she didn't like you, then you would be an outcast. So Reagan follows that. And then seeing her actually grow as a woman, into a young woman, and finding herself, because we go from the age of, I think it's 10 is when she makes her way there, and she eventually becomes a teenager. So seeing her grow, these are very short books, so know that. But I really loved it. And then she's very sheltered in this world since she's only around the Centaurs. She eventually does make her way into the world, and we find out more about it. I loved the ending. The last sentence just like broke my heart. All of these books, like the endings, like especially In an Absent Dream. If you don't know, that's my favorite of the series. The ending to that one and the ending to this one both just like punched me in the chest. But I really did like this. I fully recommend the series. Like I said, the entire series has been 5 stars for me. I know there's, I think, one more book coming out. I'm not sure how many books are going to be in this series, but it's an automatic buy, automatic pre-order. I need all of these. Like, I need to read them, and I want to reread them. The next one is also a reread, so I'm just going to go over it really quick, and I will talk about this one, though, a little bit. And that is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is a absolute favorite. I mean, this is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, I can watch this movie, like, once a week. I love it so much. I have read the book a few times. I listened to the audiobook. I do not recommend the audiobook. It is an abridged version of an abridged, because this is seen as an abridged version. This is William Goldman abridged version of something Morgenstern. I can't remember the original, the full. Like, it's supposed to be like the author writing about another author's work, like abridging it, because it's supposed to be like super long and drowned out. While the audiobook is an abridged version of a book that's already supposed to have been abridged. So it's very short. The audiobook is only like 2.5 hours long. I listen at 2 times speed, so yeah, it was like an hour for me. It was really weird. I didn't care for the audiobook. I felt like we missed a lot of the quirky kind of fun parts of this, because there's like parts in here where it'll say, oh, well, this queen, she had these so many, I think it was hats. It's been a couple of years since I read this. So many hats, and then it starts going into it, and then it goes, oh, okay, we're not going to get into all that because it's going to be 23 pages of just hats. Like, a lot of that gets cut out in the audiobook because, like I said, it's an abridged version of a book that's supposed to be already abridged. So it's I don't recommend the audiobook unless you just really want to get a feel for this and see if maybe it would be something that would be fun to read. But I fully recommend the book. This is one of those where honestly you could just watch the movie and you'd be great. Like, this is one of the best page to screen adaptations ever. Like, it's hilarious. I do recommend the book fully. I don't really recommend the audiobook because it was weird and I didn't care for it. Like, I felt like it missed a lot of the fun of the book. So there we go. This next one did not play out at all like I was expecting, and I am very, very thankful for that. And okay, let's talk about this. The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I picked this up for the vampire. I needed to read a book with a vampire for one of the prompts, and I thought this was going to be like a Twilight, because it's YA vampires, and I've never had much luck when it comes to YA vampires. It's either super cheesy, like Twilight type of, like that kind of cheesiness, and I just don't care for that. But that's what I thought I was getting into with this was, kind of cheesy. Wasn't expecting much. This ended up being a 5-star book. I loved it. I listened to the audiobook, okay? Let me tell you about the audiobook. If you know, I listen to my audiobooks through a headphone at work. The narrator has one of the sexiest freaking voices I have ever come across. I felt like I was being seduced, and she, like, there's 3 different point of views that we switch between. Claudia, Bastian, and there is this mysterious other character. The mysterious other character whispers, like, it's like this very very sensual whisper, and when she's telling the story, I was like, as you know, I work in a kitchen. I had to walk into the damn walk-in fridge a couple times because I was like, "Ooh, I'm getting a little hot in here." Like, the voices she does are so phenomenal, like with the accents and just the feel of it. Holy crap. Like, I fully recommend the audiobook for this because it is so sexy. Like, the audio narrator's voice was sexier than like the actual book, and I ended up knocking this onto another prompt, which is to read a steamy read. This is a very kind of sensual book, but the narrator really, like, I was just like, oh, I'm loving you. I need to find out what else you've done readings for because I'm hooked. We follow the story of a girl named Celine. I should probably talk about the book. She has run away from Paris for mysterious reasons that we find out, and I actually really loved her mysterious reason. She has taken a ship and she is now in New Orleans in it's like the end of the 19th century. It's like 18 something. I can't remember the exact date. 1872 in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. It is like one of the places I want to visit before I die. Like, I've always wanted to. And when she gets there, she eventually meets this girl named Odetta. And I love Odetta. Like, Odette, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I'm totally like blanking on how I wrote it down, but I don't know if I'm saying it right. But we're gonna call her Odette. She is such a flamboyant, amazing character. Like, if she has to go out in public, she wears, the modern dresses of the time, like the huge, fluffy dresses, whatever. But in private, she likes to wear pants and she dresses very masculine. So I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of got a crush on her. And Celine eventually meets this other man. He is kind of like Odette and Bastien, they're part of this kind of like group. They're known as the Court of Lions. Celine she was a dressmaker when she was in Paris. Odette hires her to make her a dress for this very huge ball that's going to be happening. She meets Bastien, he's the leader of this Court of Lions, and he's the mysterious, kind of guy. And I really loved the interaction between them. Like, I was like hooked on them immediately. I was like, oh, because Celine is a very headstrong person. She is a woman that is very forward thinking in this time. She wants to be treated the same as a man. She believes women should be. They should be able to do what they want and not have to worry about these things. And then under all this, we've got this vampire lore lurking, and it's just like, I heard that some people complain that it wasn't like vampire-y enough. Literally, one of the opening scenes is someone getting their throat ripped out. Like, it was very obvious they were vampires. I don't know if it's maybe because I knew it was vampires before reading it, but it read as a vampire novel, so I don't know. But I loved the interactions, though, between all of the characters. I loved Celine getting more confident in herself and knowing what she wants, and she keeps pushing back on people that you're supposed to be a lady, know your place. And she's like, no. Like, I loved her character. And then she has a best friend that she meets on this boat on their way to New Orleans. Pippa, I really enjoyed Pippa. I loved their friendship and the way it kind of built. And these are two strangers that just find themselves with similar mysterious backgrounds that they don't really want to talk about, and finding their place in this new world. And it's just amazing. I loved it. And then we have a character, though, he was my least favorite character. His name is Michael. He's like the cop investigating these mysterious murders. I did not like him. I hated him through the entire, I don't know if it's just because he's a cop, and I tend to, like, 99% of the time hate cop characters, and I just didn't like him. When it came to the ending, we basically get 3 endings. We get Celine's ending, which I scream. I was like, no, like, it was just like, ugh, but it was so good. And then we get Bastien, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And then we get the mysterious one, and I'm just like, holy crap. The mysterious one was my favorite because I'm very excited for the next book because what it's supposed to lead to. I don't know anything about the next book, so I'm very excited to get to it. I'm probably most definitely 100% going to be doing the audiobook for it because, like I said, the narrator is one of the best narrators I've ever heard, and I'm hooked on her voice because it's fucking sexy. But there we go. So that one I loved. It was 5 stars. I'm very, very excited to get into the next book. I'm hoping it lives up to that one because I need it. I think there's supposed to be 3 books in the series. I don't know. This next one was a comic book that I read. I needed a prompt with a number in the title, and none of my books I picked up had numbers in the title, so I went with The Sixth Gun by Cullen Bunn. This is a Western horror, kind of zombies, a lot of shit going on. We got zombies, ghosts. This was a lot of fun. I don't like Western movies, but I do enjoy Western comics for some reason. I don't know. It makes even Western like TV shows and stuff like that. I really enjoy. It's just like movies. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. But this was a lot of fun. It was super fast paced. There are these 6 guns that they were all given to this group of very, very horrible people. The leader of their group is named Oleander Hum. His wife gets one. And then there's a character named Drake who actually has one as well. They are trying to bring, Oleander was eventually killed and he was chained and buried. They eventually bring him back and he's trying to get this other gun that they've tracked down to this preacher who is the one that killed him. While the preacher ends up dead and his stepdaughter, Becky, is the one that eventually... I really found the name Becky really weird for this book. Like, it didn't fit with... Everyone else has these really, like, Western-y sound names, and then we have Becky. So, I don't know, that was odd. But she eventually... the only way to be able to use one of these guns is if the current owner of the gun is killed and the first person to touch it is the next one that gets it. Well, her stepfather is killed and she eventually gets this gun, and now she has the gun that belonged to Oleander, and they're trying to get it back, and each one of these guns possess different powers. Oleander's gun is they get visions of the future, of the past. One of them controls this like mud people type of thing. Another one brings back ghosts. There's like each one of these guns have different powers. It's really cool. I'm really interested in reading the next volume. I really enjoyed this. This was probably like a 4-star book. It was just fast-paced, super fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked all the characters. So, yes, if you're into westerns and horror, I would say check it out. It's a very weird genre, I guess. This next one was one I was very excited to read, and this is another one like Monday's Not Coming, where it starts off and gets really, really good and then kind of just disintegrates. And that is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. I was really, really excited for this, and for 60% of this book, it was amazing. It was super fun, super great. Like, it was a good time. I loved it. Fast paced. It had really cool characters. I was really interested in the plot. We follow the character of a girl named Miyang. She is a half human, half Gummyo, which is a 9-tailed fox, like demon. She lives off of taking the like life force or soul of men, and men, it's men only. She goes after men that are bad, like she finds out that they've hurt people or something like that, and she goes after them. That's how she kind of, deals with having to do this, because she is a half human, so she does care about humans. She eventually runs into this young boy. They're all teenagers, I think 16, 17. Yihun, who he ends up having to chase his dog into these woods where there is this demon that Myung is fighting. And so he kind of finds out, what she is. And like, this reads like a Korean drama. I've gotten really into Korean dramas on Netflix lately. Like, I'm watching quite a few of them, and I have a couple lined up. Like, it's what I watch when I'm on my lunch when I'm eating. But like I said, 60% of this book was amazing. It was fast-paced. I loved all the characters. I was like so into it. I started this one physically, but then this was the last book that I was reading, and I had to I got busy on my last day of work, so I switched over to the audiobook for this one. It was available, so I got lucky with that. I did switch over to the audiobook. So I didn't realize that when I got to the 60% part, like when it felt like it was ending, like it was a great ending to this. Like I was like, we had a cool fight scene and everything, and I was like, okay, we're coming to an end. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like so excited. And then it kept going. And then it kept going. And then it kept going. This book should have ended at the 60% mark. It was a amazing ending, and then we could have got into the second book because this is a series. After that, what felt like an ending, it just dragged on. Eventually, the actual ending to it was pretty good, but by then, I was so frustrated because the author all of the characters and stuff that you liked for the first 60% of the book, like you were invested in them, you cared about them, you liked the relationships that were building and everything, they drag on, and she just, like, it was a lot like Ready Player 2 for me, where they just kind of like take all the characters out back and shoot them and destroy them slowly. And I just ended up hating most of the characters by the end because I just didn't care anymore. This is a book that should have been edited very, very much because it was just, it kept dragging. I really liked the plot twist, near the end and stuff. It was just from, we'll say, obviously I'm kind of just picking all of this, basically, like, right here didn't need to be in the book. Like, this whole maybe like 100 to 200 pages, like, didn't need to be in this book. Like, it should have been here, and then maybe changing this part of the ending into this part of the ending, and it would have been a lot better. And it just, like I said, it dragged. I absolutely loved Ji-hoon for the first half of the book. Like, he was amazing, he was sweet, he was great. I liked him. He was genuinely like a character that I liked. And then it just, like, disintegrates, and I did not care, and I don't know if I would read the next book or not. Like, I'm kind of interested, but like I said, I just didn't care by the end. This one was really hard. I think I ended up going with 3 stars for it because it was fun. Like I said, 60% of this was like a 4.5 star book. It was just a good time. It was super cliche and just funny and great. I loved it. And then it just, yeah, it didn't know how to end, and it was just, So there we go. Those were the 10 books that I read this week because holy crap. So I only have 4 books for the rest of the month, which I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that because I'm going to have a lot of extra time to read, and I don't know what to read. So I'm going to just kind of pick books randomly that I want to read. So I don't know, or see if I can get some audio. Oh, obviously I need audiobooks for when I'm at work. So I don't know about the rest of my week, or the rest of the month, but for this next week, I will be reading A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I will be doing A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I'm very, very excited. This one might be the first book I read this week. This one, the second one. And then I have The Palace Job as well. I'm very excited for that one. I keep forgetting it. I don't have a physical copy of it, so though I need to remember to read that one. But last that I want to read for my TBR is going to be Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. Very, very, very chunky boy. I will be doing the audiobook. I just actually got my audiobook hold in. So yes, this will be the last book that I read because I think A Song Below Water I might do an audiobook, and then I'll read A Gathering of Shadows physically or switch it. I'm not sure because I remember I didn't like the narrator for this one. I didn't like his voice that he did for the main female character. So I might do this one physically, this one audio, and then this will be the last audiobook that I do for the for the TBR. And then The Palace Job, I have that one on my Kindle. I don't actually have that one physically. So yeah, I'm going to finish my TBR most likely next week. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what else I decide to read. But there we go. That's what's what. That was my absolutely crazy week, and this is my absolutely crazy long freaking vlog, which this might be my longest vlog ever. But there we go. If you've read any of these, let me know. I am definitely going to be doing a review though on Foul is Fair because I need to talk about that book because I loved everything about that book. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. I recommend it. Check it out, especially the audiobook if you can. But there we go. So if you've read any of these, I'd love to know your thoughts on these. If there's any other ones of these you think I should do a review on, let me know that as well. So as always, I'm Bobby. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will check in with you guys next week. Happy reading. Bye.